Hi, and welcome to episode 61 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, April 5th, 2019. This is a podcast all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting, crocheting, and hand-dyed yarn to share with you all. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts. You can find me on Ravelry at Noble Character. And I also have a group for this podcast in Ravelry under Noble Character Crafts Podcast. In that group, you will be able to find the show notes for this episode as well as previous episodes. You can also get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. And I will have links to all of the places that you can find me in the description box below. I have a giveaway to share with you all today. I have been generously donated a beautiful pattern by Hilda Sorum called the Frosty Waves Poncho, and I will insert a picture of it here so you all can see it. It is such a gorgeous pattern, and the interesting thing about this design is that the cables in this design are reversible, so you can wear it either way, and it looks beautiful on both sides. And of course, with a poncho, it can be styled in several different ways as well. So that is really neat and interesting, and I absolutely love this design. Thank you so much, Hilda, for your generous donation. I really appreciate you thinking of donating your beautiful pattern to this podcast. I have a thread in the Ravelry group open if you would be interested in winning a copy of this pattern. So head on over to the Ravelry group and check out that thread to enter to win that giveaway prize. And thank you again, Hilda, so much for your generous donation. I don't have any finished objects to share with you all this week, so I will just start off with works in progress. This one, if you have tuned in before, you're probably getting sick of sharing it. Honestly, I'm getting a little sick of sharing it. No, not really. I love working on this, and I don't mind talking about it every week, but it is a slow work in progress for sure. I am holding it in this beautiful project bag from Tanny Casey that has an enamel pin on it from Twill and Print. And in here is my Brioche-licious shawl by Andrea Mowry. Oh, and also here's a surprise from my daughter. She's always drawing me pictures and leaving them for me. Isn't that cute? Okay, in here is the Brioche-licious shawl by Andrea Mowry. And last week I had predicted that the applied border that I am working on right now was going to take a couple of weeks. I think it's going to take a month. It's really slow going, like unbelievably slow going. I can't believe how long it's taking me. But it is absolutely gorgeous, so I'm just going to keep plugging along, but the amount of hours that I'm putting into this thing is a little ridiculous. Okay, here it is so far. It's really a beautiful design. I really love it a lot. Oops. So it started up here with these striped sections at the top. Here is where it started. And these are just worked in short rows to add these wedges. As you can see, there's a couple of brioche sections there. And now I am working on this applied brioche border. And, you know, that's quite a good amount of work, but it's only less than a fourth of the way across the shawl. I've just worked over 100 stitches, and there's 421 total across the border here. So, it's going to take a long time. This beautiful progress keeper from Amanda of Little Bitty Delights is marking where I was last week when I recorded, and so I have worked several repeats of the brioche pattern. So I'm really happy with that. It's just looking so beautiful, but I still have all of this to do. I really am only doing 1 at the most 2 repeats of the brioche pattern every day. So that isn't helping because I'm not really putting a ton of time into it, maybe about an hour every day, I would guess. The repeat has 24 rows, and of course each row has 2, so really it's like 48 rows because you're doing every row twice with the brioche. But after I do one repeat, I'm like, okay, I need to put this away for a minute, because although I have memorized the pattern now, I don't even have to look at the pattern. I do need to keep track of what row I'm on to know where I'm at in the pattern. And it's just a little bit fiddly. Now, I am not using DPNs as is recommended in the pattern, just because I don't have the right size of DPNs. And I was going to order a set. I suppose I could look into ordering a cheaper set, but all of my needles are ChiaoGoo, and so I just automatically go to order ChiaoGoo needles. And a set of DPNs in a US size 4 3.5 millimeter needle, which is what I'm using, were going to be $15. And I never use DPNs for anything else. I really don't enjoy working with DPNs. And so I just didn't really, $15 isn't terrible, but it's a chunk of change that I really didn't feel justified in buying, just so that it would be a little bit more convenient. So I do need to slide the stitches back and forth quite a few times in order to do the pattern, which is a little bit more time consuming. So maybe I will look into getting a really cheap pair of DPNs and see if I like working with that. I don't know. I think it would probably, I know it would speed up the process quite a bit, so it might be worth it. Anyway, I'm using my own hand-dyed yarn for this project in 4 different colors. I'm using my Bare Undyed Lambs colorway, which you can see striped in here, and also in these 2 brioche sections. I'm using my Solid Black Night colorway, which you can see striped in there. And then the this light color here is called Insight. It's a bare yarn that is speckled with black. Here it is in the cake. And then I'm also using my Silent colorway, which is this light gray that is speckled with black. So right now in the brioche section, I am using Insight and Night together. This is going to be a gift for a lady at church, a friend at church. And man, it's going to be hard to part with this after all the time I put into it, but I'm pretty confident that she's going to love it as well. So it's going to be so pretty. I'm really, really happy with it. And I would love one for myself as well, but I don't know. I don't know if I can tackle this pattern again after this border. It is pretty incredible how labor intensive it is, but oh well. That's how it goes. Definitely a slow knitting project. My next work in progress is in this cute little sock project bag that I received in my Christmas mini skein swap, one of the mini skein swaps that I did last Christmas. And in here is a pair of socks that I am making. So I've gotten quite a bit of work done on these this week. They look really funny, don't they? I had started making these using a seed stitch pattern because I loved it so much in the Brioche Luscious shawl, and I really thought it'd be fun to make a pair of socks using seed stitch. But as I was knitting along here, I noticed that this was coming out so wide and loose, and I was confused by that. And I had just realized that, and then I happened to tune into the Charm of It podcast with Eva, and she had just finished a pair of socks that had a seed stitch panel or part of a seed stitch pattern in them, and she mentioned that seed stitch is makes quite a wide fabric, or a loose fabric, and I was like, yes, it is making a very wide fabric. So anyway, I decided to switch that up. So I just finished one repeat of the stripes, and then I switched to a 3x1 pattern just so that it wouldn't be too loose. So this is, going to be up. I've made these pretty tall. This is, you can see the leg of the sock here. And so this will just be up, higher on my leg. And so I think it'll be a good fit still, even though it has a loose fabric, because it'll be up high on my leg. I cast on 64 stitches. I did 20 rows of 3x1 ribbing up here at the top using my own hand-dyed yarn in the Deep Waters colorway on my Pitter Patter base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, which, by the way, is the majority of what is in my Brioche Luscious shawl as well. Most of that is on my Pitter Patter base as well. And then the stripe color is a Knit Picks Felici in the Hawaiian shirt colorway. And right now I am on the heels. I'm making a Eye of Partridge heel flap. And I'm using a mini skein that I also received from my Christmas mini skein swap. I don't remember who the dyer is of this mini skein though, unfortunately, but I love how the gold, and it even has little specks of blue, is coordinating with the Knit Picks Felici yarn. So I'm really happy with how that's working up. And I think the Eye of Partridge heel flap is my favorite. I love the way that it looks. I've only made an Eye of Partridge heel flap once before, but I really love the looks of it. So I'm excited about that. This Progress Keeper is from Million Dots, and I got a set of stitch markers from her a while back, and I absolutely love them. They are so incredibly made. This was actually a stitch marker. It just came with the ring, and I put it on a earring back so that I could use it as a Progress Keeper, and I just absolutely love it so much. This little blackberry, so cute. I highly recommend her shop as well if you're not familiar with her work. It's incredible. I am using ChiaoGoo needles, US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles for these. And yeah, they're coming along really nicely right now. Of course, this was my mindless project, and now that I'm on the heel flap, that's not too bad, but once I get to the, heel turn and the gusset decreases and everything, it becomes not quite so mindless for me. I need to keep track of what row I'm on, so I'm hoping to get through the heels pretty quickly so that it can be a mindless project for me to take along with me as I, travel and so forth. So anyway, I'm really happy with how they're coming along. They do look kind of funny, but I think they'll fit my foot pretty well once they're on my foot, So I am happy with those. 3x1 ribbing is just my favorite. I love the way that it fits, and I really enjoy knitting 3x1. I just love the way that I don't know, it's just an easy pattern for me to follow, and I really enjoy knitting it. So okay. My next work in progress is in this cute project bag from My Creative Frenzy on Etsy. And in here is a project that I'm a little discouraged by. This is the Nagu Selbu Mittens by Alina Ermis. And I've made quite a bit of progress on this mitten. Well, not too terribly much progress, I guess, but enough, a good amount of progress. Last time I showed this to you was a couple of weeks ago, and I had just started the color work. I was only not even an inch into the color work. And I actually worked up to about here, I believe, in the color work pattern. And then I kept trying it on, and I kept noticing that it was pretty tight, but I thought that it would stretch out, and I thought that I would be okay with it. But as the last time I tried it on, it was getting taller, obviously, as I was working on it. And at that point, it was like my hand was throbbing as I had tried it on. I was like, okay, this is way too tight. So I was kind of like in denial, I think, for a while, because I was like, oh no, it'll be fine. I'll just keep going. And anyway, I was like, finally realized, no, it's way too tight. So I had been using one size down. Let's see, what was I using? I'm not sure. Right now, I am using a US size 2.5 millimeter needle. So before I was using a US 2.25 millimeter needle for the body, the main portion of the mitten. And now I've gone up, and the fit is quite a bit better, although it is still a little bit tight, but I really do think it would stretch out this time. Yeah, I'm happy with the fit now. I mean, it has some give in here. So I'm happy with that. The problem is that I don't have enough yarn. I'm gonna run out of yarn. So I am using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport. in the Dove Heather colorway, which is this light gray, and the Blossom Heather colorway, which is this pink. And the pattern says that you only need 50 grams of each color, which is what I have. But I noticed that the gray was running pretty low, and so I measured it, and I'm already very, very close. I'm at 27 grams left, and I'm not done yet. So I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be enough. And I went on to Knit Picks website to see if I could order another skein, and it is not available until June 4th. So I don't know. I'm very discouraged by that. And I wonder if maybe it is too tight. It feels really tight right here on top of the thumb. I don't know. And also, the other thing that I'm a little discouraged by is that I'm just not sure if the pattern is just not showing up very well because there's not enough contrast. I knew that it was going to be a low contrast combo. I did do the black and white test, so if you're not familiar, you can take a picture of your two colors that you're using for a Colorwork project and turn it into a black and white photo. I'll try to make the video black and white right now so that you can see that once you turn the picture to black and white, you can no longer see the pattern. So that was, not a great choice, but I just happened to have these two skeins of yarn that I accidentally ordered or mistakenly was shipped. I don't remember ordering them, but I received them in a bundle of yarn that I got from Knit Picks, and I just wanted to try to use them up because they're the only, I don't have anything else that is, this kind of yarn, and I thought it would work well for Colorwork, which it does, but the colors just aren't contrasting enough, I don't think. Because it really is a beautiful pattern, but it's really getting lost, I think. So I don't know. I'm kind of discouraged by this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to frog it or just put it into hibernation for a while, which I hate doing. I hate putting a project down and not finishing it or frogging it. I don't know. It's really not comfortable on my hand right now. Of course, it's not very cold, and it's really, really warm on my hand. So maybe that's part of it. But like I said, that's really digging into the top of my thumb right there. I don't know. I probably am going to frog it because I'm just not loving it anymore. So I feel like I've put quite a bit of work into this project, and that's discouraging, but that's just how it goes sometimes. You live and learn what works, what doesn't work. And I don't think these are working for me. I'm not loving them anymore. I'm not enjoying them anymore. So I think I'm going to frog them. There we go. I made a decision. All right. My last work in progress is very enjoyable, though. It has won my heart this week. I have just really, really enjoyed working on this project. I had, so I am part of our church's prayer shawl ministry, and part of that ministry, we also make baby blankets and give them to mothers as they have new babies in our church family. And so I like to keep one girl blanket and one boy blanket on hand in case a baby is born. And I just recently gave away the boy, it could have been for a girl too, but it was fitting for a boy, and I gave it to a family that just had a baby boy. I'll insert a picture of it here in case you've never seen it before, but I did just gift this blanket to that family this last weekend at church, and so I wanted to start on another baby boy blanket. And I was thinking I should probably finish up one of the other works in progress that I had on hand. I kept looking through my Ravelry queue, and I was just getting so excited about starting this project, and so I just decided to start it because I really wanted to. So it's a free pattern, and it's by Yarnspirations. It's called the Radiant Rays Crochet Blanket. And here, I hope you can see it well enough, is a picture of it. And so it's a circular blanket, and it has, as the name suggests, these rays that kind of come down out from the middle that I just think is so beautiful. I really love it. And it is originally made using a Caron Baby Cakes, which I think is like a gradient, which really it has a neat effect in the way that the blanket is made. But I had this Lion Brand Comfy Cotton Blend yarn on hand that I wanted to use, And I thought that would be a really nice, those would be really nice colors for a boy. Neutral, but yet a little bit of blue in there. So I thought that'd be nice. This is a new yarn to me. I'd never used it before. It's 50% cotton and 50% polyester. It is labeled as, you know how they put the numbers on there? So it's a light number 3, which I believe is a DK weight. It comes in 200 grams and 392 yards for 200 grams, which doesn't really seem to be a DK weight, but, and I feel like it's almost a worsted weight actually, but I don't know, I guess it could be DK weight. The original pattern calls for Aran weight yarn and a USH hook, which is a 5mm. But and actually this yarn recommends that you use a J hook, 6mm hook. I don't know. Anyway, I decided to just use, well, since it looked like worsted to me, I usually go for a USH 5mm hook with worsted weight yarn. And so that's what I ended up going with. So I just have a boy crochet hook, which that's the typical hook that I use. And I put a pencil gripper at the end to cushion the palm of my hand as I hold it. That's my preference of hook. And anyway, I am absolutely loving working on this project so much. It is bringing me so much joy. And let's see here. It is such an interesting construction. So it starts at the center, as you would probably expect. But I did not realize that this is how this was worked up. So, you know, in the picture, you can't really tell how those rays are made. I just assumed they were, you know, front post crochet stitches or something like that. But when you start, and honestly, when I first started off, I was like, there is a mistake here. What in the world is going on? Because you start off with most of your work being these really large loops, which are just chain stitches, these really long loops of 10 chain stitches. And it's just really kind of fiddly, and I was like, where in the world is this going? I am totally confused. I thought it just kept repeating with all of these loops. Can you see all these? And I was like, what in the world is going on here? But so I did a few rows and I was like, I need to figure out what's going on. So I read ahead, which is not something I typically do. I usually just go with a pattern and I never read it ahead of time. But anyway, I went ahead and read to the end where it talks about how you chain the loops together. So really, it's kind of like knitting. You knit these loops together in order to make, so I've done just 4 rows of that. So you can see here, you take the loops and you loop, you know, chain them together or knit them together, really. You make it kind of a knit stitch there. And that closes up the holes and it makes that the rays. And I just think that is so awesome. So can you see how different it looks from this section, this half that is all open, and then this half is all closed up. So let me see if I can show you. So you just start at the center. It's kind of hard to do it backwards. Okay, here's the center. And you just, you know, just like as if you had dropped a stitch and you need to, you know, ladder down. And this is just like a ladder of knit stitches. And you just pull them up through each other like that, one after another. So you can see that that one's starting to form. It's kind of hard to see in this yarn, but anyway, I'm just really impressed with this pattern and how that is designed. I think it's so clever and fun, and I'm just loving this so much. It's so fun. I really like the fabric as well that it's making. This yarn is really it has a nice feel to it, and I think it'll be nice for a baby blanket because of course it will be cozy, but with it being 50% cotton, I think it will be not too warm. You know, it'll have a nice, you know, even in the summer they could use it and it wouldn't be too terribly warm, and it'll wash beautifully, I think. So anyway, I'm really excited about that, and I really like the neutral colors in it. It's not, you know, a lot of times baby blankets are really bright and colorful, which this one of course is not, but I think it'll be nice for a baby blanket as well. And of course, this could also be for a girl. It doesn't have to be for a boy, but it's nice to be able to have a blanket that has options of being for either, really. So anyway, I'm absolutely loving that. And as you can see, it's grown so quickly already. I just started it, I don't remember, but I don't know, beginning of the week, I think I started it. So I'm loving it. I'm already on my second cake of yarn, and I have one more, which I think will be plenty, I hope. So I'm about halfway through the second cake of yarn. So it's working out beautifully, and I'm so happy with this. I can definitely see myself making more of this pattern because it's really so enjoyable. So I highly recommend it. Okay, so those are all of my works in progress. So I usually share a set of yarn from my Etsy shop that I think works well together for a project. But this week I actually have, last week I had something different to show you, and I have something different to share with you all this week as well. I have a few discontinued colorways, or there's a few that are not, well, I'll explain. But anyway, I just have a few clearanced yarns in my Etsy shop that I wanted to share with you all so that you all know about them. The first one is the lightest shade from my Glory Faded set. So this is actually, I have a faded set where this is the lightest and then it fades to a deep charcoal that has the same colored speckles in it. But when I first make a fade, when I'm first designing a fade, I start off with just one of the fade that I want to make, and I see how I like it, and then once I decide how I like the speckles and how the colors work together, then I will dye the whole fade as a whole set. And so I have two colorways that are just single skeins from a faded set, and I can't really use them because when I dye a faded set, I like to dye it, all together. I either sell sets of 4 or sets of 5, and I like to dye them, of course, all at the same time so that they're uniform. And so anyway, I have this skein, which is again the lightest shade from my Glory Faded set. So it's a very light gray, and then it's speckled with this bright red, teal, and a deep charcoal as well. And this is on my Pitter Patter base, which again is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon fingering weight. So it's 100 grams and 463 yards. And the full skeins that I have to share with you are on clearance for $18 in my Etsy shop. So here is the first one. And the second one is from my Dwell Faded set. So very similar to the one I just showed you, except it has different colored speckles on it. So the Dwell Faded set is the lightest color, again, is light gray, and that set also fades to a deep charcoal. But this one is speckled with, again, teal, but then also some deep plum, which is kind of hidden right now. Let's see if I can find a spot that has it. There is quite a bit of plum in there. It's this little tiny section of the plum color. And then it has navy blue, and it also has charcoal. Let's see, here's a little bit down here, which really is almost black, but it's actually a charcoal colored speckle. So anyway, I also have one of these on clearance. And then the rest of the yarn I have to share with you are discontinued. So these are colorways that were in my shop but are now discontinued. And so I just have one more full skein to share with you all. This is my Precious colorway, but as I said, it is discontinued. It has quite a bit of bare yarn in there, but then it's also swirled in with this real light pink. It's quite a bright light pink. It's not pale pink. It's a bright pink, but it is very light. Anyway, and then it is speckled with black. So again, one skein of this is all I have left, and it will be on clearance for $18 as well. And then the rest of what I have to share with you are minis. So I have actually 4 minis of the Precious colorway again, but these have been re-skeined or rewound, so you can see the color distribution a little bit differently, and this would be more representative of how it would knit up, that Precious colorway. So And these are 20 grams, approximately 92 yards each. And again, these are all on my pitter patter base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, fingering weight. So I have 4 of those. I have 4 of my Hidden Treasures colorway, which is a bright teal base, and then it is speckled with a bright purplish pink, although it's kind of hard. It looks more purple on the teal. It has some deep navy as well as some rusty orange speckles on it. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a really pretty color, I think. So, Hidden Treasures, I have 4 of those. I have 3 of Like a Bird colorway. This colorway was inspired by a mallard duck photograph. So it has a bare base, but then it is painted with brown, speckled with brown, painted with greens and golds. So 3 of those. And I only have 1 of my Cool Spirit colorway, which has a light turquoise or teal base, and then it is speckled with navy blue. So just 1 of those left. So I just wanted to show, and all those minis are only $5 each in my shop. So head on over there if you would be interested in any of those and pick up those reduced priced yarns and help me to clear out my shop of any clearance items. I would really appreciate that so much. So we have had a great week. I took the kids to the zoo earlier this week, all by myself for the first time, which was an adventure. I guess I was just feeling brave and decided to take the kids to the zoo nearby in Omaha. And that was fun. It was exhausting, but we had a good day. I have started a new hobby, which I don't know if I'll keep it up, but I'm really enjoying it right now. I found, I came across an ad for an app that teaches you how to play piano. And we have an electric keyboard that was given to us by one of my mom's friends. She had found it, I believe, at a garage sale for a really good price and just gifted it to us. And this app is called Simply Piano, and it syncs with an electric, well, it syncs with any piano, and then it can hear what you're playing, and it's really an interactive app. It goes step by step through how to play chords and how to play both hands at once, and I'm really enjoying it. And a couple of our children have started going through the app as well to try to learn, which is really exciting. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. It is hard. It's really, I can feel it in my arms. I have really tight muscles here in my forearms where I'm using new muscles that I've never used before probably. And, but I'm really enjoying it. It's not easy. It is quite challenging. I try to do it every day for maybe 15 minutes, but there have been a couple of times where I'm like, oh my word, I'm so frustrated with trying to get this figured out. I have to step away from it, which of course is, fine with me. There's no hurry for me to learn it. I'm just really enjoying it. And I have always wanted to learn how to play the piano. So I'm really excited to be trying this new hobby out, and it's going well so far. So that's fun. Other than that, I can't think of anything major that's gone on this week. The weather just is really warming up, it seems to be. The snow that we had last week did not last long at all, thankfully. So anyway, we've had a good week. Nothing major. So I hope you all have had a great week as well. And I hope that you have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would really appreciate you giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel. I hope that you all have a great week. Bye-bye.